all my Kenvians, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Steven Universe. Giant Woman. This is the episode I've been waiting for like 2 episodes now. This is the one that kept me invested the whole time. And I think I kind of gave away my feelings on it a little bit early. Anyway, let's get into my favorite parts of the episode. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to give up my overall thoughts because I'm going to be honest. I don't have any negatives for this episode. So let's go into my overall thoughts and I will talk about some of my favorite aspects as I go along. This episode may have been the most interesting that I've seen so far. It had good humor, it had an intriguing story, it kept me, like I said earlier, it kept me invested the whole episode through. And part of that is because it actually capitalized on one of the things I noticed in other episodes as well, but 2 episodes ago, where I said I felt like the sort of like little conflicts or little spats between Amethyst and Pearl might come to a head at some point. And they utilized that here, especially with, Steven really wants to see Opal, the fusion between Pearl and Amethyst. And Steven was absolutely hilarious this entire episode. He was such a kid, and it was awesome the entire time, because there were certain aspects, it's like, because, I mean, kids, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but kids can be selfish a lot of times. And one of the things that he said was, if you two don't get along, I'll never get to see Opal. And I mean, that's very, like, focused on himself as opposed to, the fact that they could all die if they aren't able to fuse and battle this gigantic bird monster thing that is apparently made entirely out of gems and turns into a bunch of tiny little gem bird things. But yeah, I just absolutely love that aspect. And I mean, getting to see, I do wish I do wish in the episode they had shown the actual fusion process. Now, we do get to see a failed fusion process because of Pearl does her dance and then Amethyst does a club dance, which was kind of awkward, I have to say, watching. Because I'm watching a cartoon character like shake her butt right at it, and the look on her face was very intense, so that was weird. But yeah, the failed fusion was interesting. So I don't know if, I'm sure that we'll see a full one on screen at some point. So I don't know if it was basically the same up until the point where they separated, when they had the failed fusion, or what. But actually getting to see Opal was really cool. I expected when she talked that we would get sort of a combination of Amethyst and Pearl's voices. Kind of like, the only example I can think of right now is in Avatar: The Last Airbender, when he's channeling avatars of the past. And yeah, I don't think this is really a spoiler. The show's been out for a while. But in that case, it's like you would have Aang's voice mixed in with past avatars' voices, whether it was Avatar Roku, I believe it was, and a few others. So that's what I was expecting, but instead what we get was just a completely different voice. And I thought for a second that it was the same voice as Garnet, because it just had a very similar tone. But I went in and I checked, and they have different voice actresses for Garnet and Opal. So that's not the case, but I don't know, just that's one thing I can't get out of my mind since I watched the episode just a few minutes ago, is that the tone of voice between Opal and Garnet sound very similar. So that actually leads me to some questions regarding Garnet and what was learned about her in the previous episode, when we get to see her 3 eyes, where, as I mentioned, we get to see all three of her eyes, one is blue, one is red, and one is purple, I think. Or were there two red ones? I can't remember exactly. But anyway, I don't know. That leads me to this question that, again, just, it could be overanalyzing, or it could be the idea that, kind of like Undertale, a lot of relatively minor things, or a lot of relatively minor details in the show have larger impacts or have larger meaning in the grand scheme of the show. So, and I'm going to say this question, but I don't want anyone that has seen ahead to say whether or not I'm right. Yeah, because this is something that I want to wait and see if anything about this is revealed. But is Garnet a fusion? In my mind, that would explain, again, even though Pearl is tall, Garnet is much taller than her, and Garnet is much stronger than her, and just the combination of colors in the eyes leads me to think that maybe Garnet is a fusion of a few different gems. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I could theorize that maybe it's two different gems that maybe during a battle they were both dying and they had to fuse together and have to stay together. Otherwise they, risk dying completely. I don't know exactly. It's just kind of theorizing, but I'm really interested to see what might come of that. And then, of course, we get to the very end of the episode. And Garnet just makes this side comment of, you'll be able to do it one day too. And I swear to you that I said out loud basically the same thing that Steven says in the episode, which is, he confused too? Which is, it's a weird concept because, I mean, I can understand it being two different gems because it's been already laid out that the gems are all, they are gems. They don't have any actual human side to them other than the forms they take. Or in Amethyst's case, the form she takes most of the time. But then, with Steven being half human, half gem, I guess it kind of blew my mind a bit that he might be able to fuse. And if he fuses with a full gem, how will that affect his human side? Like, might that cause his human side to degenerate some? Or might it have some other effect? I don't know. But yeah, like I was saying at the beginning, this is an episode I've been waiting for 2 episodes, and it has me so pumped and so ready to get into more episodes that that's actually what I'm going to do. I was only expecting to watch 3 episodes, record these, and then edit those together, but no, I'm going to watch at the very least 1 more episode. Maybe 2, I don't know. It depends on how good they are. Which actually, those are all my thoughts for this episode. Again, I didn't really have any negatives at all that I can think of. But if you have any, well, obviously you have thoughts of your own, but please leave your thoughts on this episode down below in the comments. Your favorite parts, any annoyances you might have had, any favorite quotes. If you're going along with me, let me know your theories, let me know your thoughts on my theories, but if you know any of the answers regarding Garnet, please don't spoil them. Please, I am begging you, do not spoil them for me because I want to find out, I want to experience that for myself. So yeah, alright, so moving on from there, everyone, thank you very much for joining me for this episode of Discovering Steven Universe, and next time I will see you all for So Many Birthdays. It's a really strange title. Somehow stranger than some of the others before. But I guess I'll find out what it's all about next, or before the next episode. Yes. Alright, anyway, everyone, I will see you next time, and as always, Alonzi!